Stronger.
Imagine a world without choices.
Stronger.
Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them they're gonna be stronger. Together, together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger, together, together we can make it right.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. So glad to have you guys on. Tonight, we're going to be focusing or looking at what's been happening recently in Lluidas Vale. And we're going to be talking with a resident there who, have her share her experience and what other families like hers are going through. All right, good night, Desmond Mary. JMH, big up yourself. Sylvester Lawrence, UIC all the way up. Lion with the Jungle, Without Fear, big up yourself. So yes, tonight we're going to be looking at the treatment that's been meted out to our citizens in Lluidas Vale and how the government is behaving and reacting to the citizens we have here. So before we get to that though, as I said, we're going to be bringing on a resident of the area. The UIC went to Lluidas Vale on Heroes Day. In fact, we went to Lluidas Vale and Bob Marley Beach. And so we went there and we, sat down and, well, not sat down, but talked with the residents in Lluidas Vale and in the area, and handed out some flyers, did some canvassing, and the reception was really well. It was really good, and so we had a chance to kind of, share the UIC's policies and plans and the UIC's ideas with the residents there in Lluidas Vale. And so we're now going to be talking with one of the residents that we spoke to. But before we get to that, I'm going to play a video from our day at Lluidas Vale on Heroes Day. All right, so let me see if I can set this up.
Across the country, but come here, so. And stand up before those bulldozers and block them and let them know that we're not prepared to leave without a fight.
We had 65 persons sending their applications.
Yes, 65.
65. And you're going to put 65 households
My God.
on the street?
They're going to bulldoze 65 families.
Yes.
Because they seem to want to bulldoze people in there. Now all they have to do, step number one, which they did before, come and see who live here.
Yes.
Step number two, draw the boundaries and do a proper survey. And step number three, regularize your title.
That's
it.
The simplest thing.
And you shouldn't pay a cent for it because the land belongs to you.
Okay.
Don't let them trick you, because I love to tell you, but you must pay for things. This land, your house you have to build.
Yes.
You're responsible to build your house. But the land belongs to the people of Jamaica. And there's no way that when slavery finished, every single family didn't get a piece of land. Every black man, every black family should have gotten a piece of land at the end of slavery in 1838. which means you wouldn't be fighting now for any land, because it would have passed down from generation to generation to generation. Just like how you're trying to do now. Right now, you want to keep your land so you can give it to your children and your grandchildren, children, all the way down.
Yes.
And what they want to do is come and push you off of it so that they can give it to some rich people, and them now go and bulldoze the land and build house you can't even afford.
No.
You understand?
We don't want
They're going,
what
no,
they're going to build.
you don't want, you don't want there, no. They want to bulldoze it so they can sell it now for some bigger money, because they're putting profit over the people. They're putting profit before the people. And this Prime Minister, as young as he is, he's as heartless as those before him. Because how can him sit down there and allow people to come and bulldoze people from off of their land? You are a 55-year-old woman. You have spent your time, I'm sure you have worked very hard.
Oh my God.
You know how hard it is to buy 100 blocks? To buy a ton of steel? To buy some cement? To buy some sand? To buy some gravel? And after you build up your little house, I just went up there and saw it. After you build up your little house now, he is saying that he wants to push you off it, to give it to your rich friend now. No. So I'm imploring all Jamaicans, wherever you are, we are going to come up here and we're going to stop them from bulldozing anybody's house. So you just call us, 2930812, as soon as you hear, and it's on the paper here, as soon as you hear them itch to do anything, just call the number. And we're going to bring an army of people up here, right across the country, and we're going to block them. We must not allow them to bulldoze a single house, not even one. All 65 families must be kept right here on the land. Let's cut up the land, establish the border, and make sure every family have the land and the title and everything. And by the way, you shouldn't even pay a property tax, because of yours. You shouldn't pay a tax for yours, a your land. A your land. So you should not be paying a rent for your land. Property tax is rent. So you want to make sure. You understand? Wait, say that. Say that again. I know. People have been paying property tax, and we should not be paying any property tax. Property tax is theft, because property tax is saying the land doesn't belong to you. You're paying a rent. When you rent somewhere, you pay every month or every year. When you own something, you own it. So the land is yours. So when the UIC takes over the government, no more property tax.
All right, so that's a snippet of what happened when we were at Lluidas Vale. Very nice area, very beautiful area. The land there is really beautiful, and the people there are really nice. We had an opportunity to go through the community and meet a lot of the people in the community, and we had a good time there. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Patterson. I'm not sure if are you ready, Mr. Patterson? I will.
Yeah, I'm here. How are you doing? Good night.
I am good. Good night, Mr. Patterson. So, right, I was just sharing the video that showed a little snippet of you speaking with one of the residents at Lluidas Vale. Give the viewers a sense of what the general feeling was like of the residents there when we were there.
Well, I saw two things coming out of the people. One was fear. They're fearful for the loss of their homes. They're fearful for the future. What does that mean for them? I also sensed anger, and some residents are more militant than others. They're also looking for leadership. They feel vulnerable. They feel exposed. And they were very happy to receive the UIC because our message is a little bit stronger. I don't think the other people who are coming around are willing to speak the truth. So you have the you have the Prime Minister and the JLP that is coming around to say, you know, we understand we're going to do something and so on, but at the same time, the threat is still real. The threat is coming from the government itself, that they're going to forcibly evict these people if they don't evacuate the area and push down their own fences and so on. And then the other side now, which is Mark Golding and the PNP, they're suggesting we're going to protect you somehow, we're going to provide some legal help or something to protect you. But the people have heard those things before, so they're very tentative. They know that they cannot trust these two political parties. So because of that, they're on edge. Now, the UIC is a relatively new entity. They don't know much about the UIC. They're not sure who we are and what we're about fully. But our engagement with them on Heroes Day was such that they felt reassured that there is a group of people that are willing to stand by them and to stand with them shoulder to shoulder to deal with the pending threat. The UIC has offered to work with the people in a militant way, and I'm being very specific with that term, to defend what is theirs. We articulated for the people the fact that the lands that they're on, the lands that they have built their homes on, the land that they have occupied for decades, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, that their families have occupied for so many years. These are lands that really belong to them. Now, if not this land, they should have been given other lands because their foreparents were enslaved and beaten down and robbed of their land and labor for some 400 years under slavery and colonialism. The shocking part about all of this is that 78 years of the two parties that say they love the poor and care about the poor did not result in them being shown a very straightforward, efficient, and effective structured approach to ensure that their land rights were respected and restored. Instead, they have had two parties that have been playing games with them, seesaw, this one in, this one out, and they come and make them promises during election time. They come up there, they sit with them, they eat with them, they laugh with them, they give them little handouts here and there, and they get those same people to come and vote election after election after election, while not doing what they need to do to ensure that these people get what is theirs. Now, they're not begging anything, you know. The people themselves don't even know that they own the land, because when they're approached by the authorities, they themselves, the people, are saying, but we're willing to pay. If you would just work with we and mark out the area for we, and, you know, just go through a process and we will be willing to pay for the land. Now, I'm telling the people, them no need to pay for no land. And that might sound strange to some people because we have all been duped. We've been tricked into thinking that the land we see in Jamaica here, for the purpose of having a residence, we need to go and buy a piece of this land. That's the narrative they've given us. The narrative they've given us is that government own the land or the crown own the land, and we, the people, need to buy this land from the government or buy this land from somebody. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should be free to go around and just capture land and take anybody's land. No. But it is the role and responsibility of the government. Since we became a self-governing country, since we became an independent nation, it is the role of the government to ensure it creates a decent and orderly process for giving the people what is rightfully theirs by birth, what is theirs by heritage, and what is theirs by justice. Because they were unjustly denied their property, they were unjustly enslaved, robbed of their property and robbed of their labor, and now their descendants are suffering from that generational poverty. You follow me? So the role of good government, any good government, if those two parties meant the Jamaican people any good, they would have, as a first priority, set about correcting the wrongs and evils of slavery that have left so many Jamaican families financially marginalized without property. And if you don't have property, you cannot have liberty. Property is the foundation of building a free and fair society. And the fact that these two parties have withheld the property of the Jamaican people for so long, forcing so many to work so hard to buy back what is theirs. It's like telling a slave to buy back his freedom as if he had sold it in the first place. So we should not have to buy back the land in order to have a residence. It is the job of a well-meaning, well-thinking, just government to give the people back them land. And the fact that this prime minister and opposition leader is afraid to tell the Jamaican people that they know with certainty that this land belongs to them. The fact that Mark Golden won't say that, the fact that Andrew Holness won't say that, the fact that the PNP organization won't say that, the fact that the JLP organization won't say that, makes them complicit in the whole scheme of colonialism and slavery. They are a continuation of the colonial system and are again victimizing the people of Jamaica as if they were not already fully victimized by the colonial masters when they controlled Jamaica directly. Instead, now what they have is a puppet government that is indirectly representing fully the colonial masters so they can still rule Jamaica indirectly. So the colonial powers are still indirectly ruling because their colonial laws are still being forced upon the people of Jamaica, causing them to unnecessarily suffer. So those are my points.
Yes, and what we're seeing is the government is tricking the people by not providing proper education, or not sharing proper information in terms of our land and who really owns the land, because as you said, they are more focused on keeping and maintaining the colonial masters regime. And so they've so many people, when we bring up this land issue, so many people are saying, well, it's government land, or the government owns the land, or crown lands, and we really haven't grasped. Even myself, I mean, it's just the other day it hit me that, yeah, for real, we really should not be paying for land. I mean, where did the government get the land from? They didn't buy it, so why are we paying for the land? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Why are we paying for land?
As a matter of fact, we should be benefiting from the land.
Exactly.
Which is why the UIC's position is, and we have a very straightforward position, one that these two parties will never copy. They copy anything they can use to trick the people, or they can, just use the words and borrow our phrases. Like the Prime Minister is now borrowing the phrase about, we need to preserve the land and become energy independent. So he's borrowing our phrases. He might teeth it. But what they will never say to the people, but wait a minute, this land is your land. So any profit which comes from this land should be yours. Don't get me wrong. I am not talking about what they have done with bauxite, where they have given away our land to these bauxite companies. Allow them to dig out our wealth, which is not renewable. Okay? Dig out our wealth, which is not renewable. And then give us a little bit, give the government a little bit of profit. The government, a little bit of profit. And then take the rest of that wealth and go and make even 100 times on top of that. Now, if we owned the land, the people, that profit would have gone to each and every one of us as dividends. okay? And we would receive that money. And we would be able to spend that money as we see fit. Instead, what we have is a fraudulent system where the government behaves as though it is the owner of a corporation and we are their little mini and wage slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the UIC is going to correct all of that. The approach that we're going to take is the land belongs to the people, not some of it, but all of it. The entire land of Jamaica belongs to we the people. So every Jamaican citizen should be a shareholder in this land. So we're going to divide the land into generally two parts. One part for housing and one part for organic farming. I should say three parts. And the rest is called public spaces, where we all gather in public spaces. Okay, so we share the parks and the playgrounds and the trails and the roads and the walkways and the ponds and the beaches, and we share all of those things, the common things, right? The common land. Then you have the agricultural land now that we need to make sure is well developed and well managed to produce maximum output, to feed we the people and to provide export so that we can earn foreign exchange and use that to buy the things we don't produce. And then we make sure that the land now that is reserved for housing, we make sure every single Jamaican family has a piece of property that is called a home. Yeah? So whether you're rich or you're poor, the rich already have freedom house, no problem. The middle class, many of them already bought their homes, no problem. And then you have a large swath of people who are disadvantaged and disenfranchised. And as a result of that, they cannot ordinarily access means to buy anything. So we give them a home. We create good quality homes only. No little zinc fence, nothing. Proper homes with bathroom, proper kitchen, proper dining room, proper living room, bedrooms for the children, separate from the adults. And those homes are given to the people and they pay a mortgage over time, even an intergenerational mortgage, so that they can afford it. But we give them that upfront, so they can have tenure upfront, they can have stability upfront, they can have the amenities they need upfront, so they can go to school properly, eat properly, live comfortably, and now build up themselves mentally and financially, because the government, working in a way that makes sense, provides this basic living standard for all Jamaicans. Those who already have property and they try to build a little house, we help them finish the house. Quick, done. And then give them a mortgage to pay it off over time. Of course, the mortgage is going to be less than what they have now in terms of market rates, because we're not looking to make a profit. So the government must never be in the business of making a profit. The government's job is to provide service to help the people to get to a level. Me and you can deal with profit. In our private enterprise, we do our private business and we seek to make our profit. But when it comes on to government, it must be a non-profit operation. We're not here to make money off the people. We're here to help the people to own a home, and get a good education and be able to now work and build up from there. Those who are very smart will build faster, in terms of their knowledge set and their entrepreneurship and their innovation. You always have that. You're not going to have everybody being bright alike. So some people are going to be brighter than others by nature, by how they apply themselves. We're not going to try to change that by forcing you to be equal. We're not equal. But what we're going to do is to make sure that every single family, every single child, proper nutrition, proper education, proper health care, and decent housing. If you make sure we have those basics, then everybody now have an equal opportunity to make something of themselves. Some will do better at that than others, but that's up to them. We're not God. We can't make everybody perfect, but we can at least create a very, very good environment to bring out the best in our people.
Heading back to the point you made of, replacing our ghettos with high-rise condominiums. Some people may ask, who would want to I mean, those will just become projects then, you know, and it will, they're only for the ghetto people. So the ghetto people will run it down, and it will become like, you know, the New York projects that, you know, you have these tall skyscrapers, and at the end it just runs down, and you're back to square one. How does the UIC? How would the UIC change that? How does the UIC plan to address that issue?
Very good. By the way, that's a very good concern, that anybody would have. You don't want us to have projects. You don't want us to have big, massive concrete jungles. You don't want us to have slums created by the government. So one of the things the UIC loves to do, we're a very pragmatic party, a very pragmatic movement. So our government is about pragmatism. So we're going to look at countries that have done it very well. And I give you one example. You know the example. You look at Singapore. So what they did, they made sure that they don't build affordable housing for the poor separate from the rich and the middle class. Yeah? They build affordable housing and high price housing and high value housing all in one. And they make sure that they mix up everybody. So you don't, so Tivoli Gardens, for example, when we remodel Tivoli, or we remodel Clifton, or we remodel Lluidas Vale, you're going to have rich and poor living in close proximity to each other, following the same rules, because all of these buildings will have rules, maintenance. So we're not leaving it to the people to decide the maintenance of the building. You have a maintenance management company assigned to make sure the elevators work, the corridors are clean, the grounds are properly maintained, the laws and rules of being a property owner, a condo owner, a unit owner are maintained. And by the way, this will go for the entire country. Remember, we're saying the UIC is going to make Jamaica look, smell, and feel like a tourist resort. And we mean that. We're talking about all 14 parishes, all 228 municipal divisions, all the 3 counties. Every single inch of Jamaica is going to be treated like a priority area, because it is. So anywhere you live, you will no longer be allowed to live in squalor. That is outlawed. So instead of banning music, we're going to be banning poverty. We're going to be banning corruption. We're going to be banning nastiness. We're going to be banning dirtiness. Yeah? We're going to be banning uncleanness. We're going to ban the things that should be banned, and leave you with the freedom to choose what you want to listen to, what you want to wear, what you want to read, what games you want to play, as long as you do not use force or fraud to infringe on the life, the liberty, or property rights of anybody else. Does that make sense? Do you understand?
That makes sense to me. And it really helps to answer the question of equity. As you said, you'll have everyone living in close proximity, so you won't be having this what's the word I'm looking for? Stigma attached to certain areas. As it relates to transportation, how would that affect transportation though? Because
beautiful.
You will be having.
It's going to be a very different. The UIC's transportation model is a public transit system where the citizens may hold shares in the enterprise, but it's not going to be as disjointed as it is now. Basically, you're going to have scheduled routes, time scheduled, quality schedules. So for example, for a vehicle to be on the road participating in this process, it has to be clean. It has to stick to its time. So for example, when it must be here at 9:05, it must be here at 9:05. You understand? And it must be here at 10:15. And it must be here at 11:35. So you're talking about scheduled routes, all electronically managed. So it means if any one of those vehicles fall out of line, they're going to have strict monitoring for gas, for route, for scheduling, for cleanliness, for maintaining quietness, our buses, our taxis will become as quiet as libraries. Yeah. So no more loud music or any music on these buses, except a music that tells you when you reach your stop. A little chime goes off to say you've reached your stop, an announcement to tell you which community you're passing through. So if you're blind or you have other disabilities, you now have the system designed to help you. There'll be designated stopping points, clearly marked. So buses and taxis will not have any conflicts anymore. All areas will be marked out properly. Everybody will have this on their app, on the phone. They can tell exactly when the next bus is coming, how long it's going to take them to walk from their home to get to the next bus stop, for example. All of that will be built in. Every bus stop will have a schedule. You can go and see it on the board, which bus is coming when, where is it going. So this one is going from here to here. You're talking about a very different Jamaica, very orderly. Spick and span, clean, orderly, well scheduled and well managed. So you're not going to have this helter-skelter thing anymore. This long wait time, crowded buses, jam-packed people in the door trying to get in, schoolers being told they can't come. It's going to be a very, very orderly Jamaica. We're going to ban disorder in this country. Ban it. And we're talking about including the politicians. They will not be allowed to misbehave, the politicians. So if they misbehave, we're going to deal with them very fast. If you drop a piece of paper on the ground, chewing gum on the ground, we're going to deal with you. So the Jamaica we're talking about, is going to be a very free Jamaica, a very pleasant Jamaica for those who want to follow rules, those who want to enjoy a safe, clean, and orderly environment. Those who don't want it won't be happy with the Jamaica that we're going to create.
But some people would ask, how are you going to monitor all these, taxi men and buses? How will all of that be monitored? How are you going to monitor if someone's walking on the street and dropping garbage? How will all of that be monitored?
The same way it's done in Singapore right now. That's an easy answer. I know. They do it, but basically, if you have a public transit system, then you have it all on GPS, right? And so you can, using an algorithm, using a program, programs, you can program and follow every single bus. You can know, did they meet their targets to get to the point at the right time? Were they speeding? Customers will be able to immediately complain. So a person on the bus, if something isn't going right, they can go on their phone immediately and tell which bus it is and what the problem is. And that's sent into the control command center. And that bus driver will now have an issue, something he has to explain. There will be cameras on the buses, cameras at the bus stations. You're talking about a very, very orderly environment going forward here. People who are littering, they're going to be arrested. They're going to be charged for littering. But in order for you to do that, you're going to make sure that you're picking up garbage, that you have garbage disposal units around the country. You have street sweepers. We're going to create, a number of jobs in terms of cleaning the streets, maintaining the landscape, and providing directions for citizens and visitors who may need some assistance to know where to turn and go. So Jamaica will become a very friendly place, both for the citizens and for tourists. It's going to be a very, very clean, decent, orderly, built for good community service and good customer service all around.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the public spaces now.
Yes.
Our beaches. How will we be able to monitor our beaches? If we're saying that the beaches are for everyone, how will you monitor the security issues on the beaches? How will we monitor using the beaches to go into the hotel? All of these things.
Yeah, I think what you really want to ask is probably, first of all, the issue of access.
Well, yes.
To make sure that the beaches are accessible. We're going to change all the laws, first of all, to define this space that is public. So no property on the beach will have the ability to limit access to a certain dimension from their property to the beach. So their private property line will be fully drawn. So let's say you have a beachfront property. The law may say 100 meters from your property to the shoreline is completely public property.
Right.
And whatever you built must not prevent persons from getting to that space.
Right.
So you can put up a fence now 100 meters away from the beach to block persons from coming on the beach and walking into your area unsupervised. So you can put that up, but you can't do anything to stop a person from getting onto the beach.
Right.
Then at the same time, though, we're going to have laws that are stringently enforced for persons how they behave on the beach. Yeah. So you can't go in the space and be disorderly, be rowdy, be noisy to interfere with the activities of others, and you can't go and litter the place and so on. So what this is going to do, the beaches are going to be treated like our public parks. And by when I say like, I mean the UIC version. What you have now is no public park to be proud of. But the UIC version, all of the public spaces must be kept clean and well manicured, so that when a Jamaican walks out or drives out or rides out and go to any one of these spaces, they feel like a tourist in their own country. They feel pleasant, they feel happy, they feel respected, they feel good to be outside in their land. In fact, they're going to be so proud that they're going to be happy to be kind to tourists, to say, you see my lovely place here? Come and enjoy my lovely Jamaica, no? Yeah, man, let's have a drink on the beach or whatever. Don't worry, it's very secure. Jamaica is a very secure place. We have a very, very low crime rate, much better than even Singapore, 0.01 per 50,000. We're brilliant. You're going to love it. Come to Jamaica. That's the new Jamaica we're talking about. Now, mind you, people ask, where's the money going to come from to do all of this? We're losing a lot of money because we're not doing this. You understand? If we do these things, we'll make a lot of money. Our tourism product is going to be far more profitable. You're going to have far more people coming here because we're doing this. So your tourism dollars are going to go through the roof. Because of how we're going to approach farming by having massive organic farms similar to the Netherlands, we're going to be producing 500,000 new jobs and exporting, and therefore bringing down, or rather bringing up, the value of the Jamaican dollar, because we're now exporting high value product in the form of foods to the rest of the world. So we're going to be generating a much higher income. And just to put it in perspective for you, remember, Singapore went from $550 per person in their economy from 1965 to about 1995. Yeah, they went from $550 per person to about, by 1995, about $45,000 per person. The same period for us, we went from 550 to about 3,000 to 4,000 by 1995, and today we're about between 5,000 and 9,000 per person, while they're at 63,000 per person. So what did they do differently? They did all the stuff I'm talking about, and that, expanded their economy tremendously, like blossom. So when people think that the UIC way, we're not going to have enough money. Yes, we're going to have enough money because we're generating the money. We're producing the money by doing the things we should have done 78, 60 years ago. So we're going to do the right things, and the right things are going to give us the money to continue to do more of the right things, and we'll just get better and better and better and better. Every year of a UIC government will see our GDP rising, but because of the miracle of good governance. Just the miracle of good governance is going to cause you to see our economy rising year after year after year. When we take away the impediments, for example, for the small man to fully participate in the ganja industry, that's going to blow off the top. Yes, the rich people who are now trying to contain it and see if they can get the best out of it, they're going to lose that advantage. Yes, so for them, it's not going to be a good thing. They're going to lose the opportunity to reap massively because the government is working on their behalf. Now with the UIC in power, the people are going to reap massively. The ordinary people, the small men, they're now going to be able to have maximum opportunities because the government will be working for them. Why? Because they own the government now. With the UIC, the people of Jamaica own the government. With the GLP and PNP, the PSOJ oligarchs, the wealthy Jamaicans, and the colonial masters, they own the government. So we're going to change that. We, the people, are going to own this government, and it's going to work for us.
Amen. Comment from Alan Scott here says, please drain the parliament of the jerks.
Exactly.
Another comment here from Wade Noble. Joseph Patterson is a leader with the blueprints. All right, so going back to land and the land issue we have. You spoke about making Jamaica food secure. How would that now expand into other forms of security, like energy, being energy secure?
Yeah.
How would that?
You're on fire tonight. You're on fire tonight, Mr. Arthur. You ask all of the right questions. All right. This is beautiful to talk about. I love it. The way you get food security in a country is to manage a number of things. One of them is to manage your land, meaning make sure you're not building like what they're doing. Make sure you're not building houses on your best land. You must put housing on your worst land.
Yeah.
And put food on your best land, because housing, you're already changing the environment. So no problem there. You can take a bad piece of land and fill it up with concrete and move some things around and adjust some things and make some lovely homes that it look nice and pretty. Good. But you want to preserve your land for agriculture. That's number one. Number two, the type of agriculture you practice now will determine whether you become water and energy secure. So what the UIC is going to do, we're going to be practicing organic agriculture with a lot of the permaculture technology built in, which means you're designing your agriculture to be in sync with the rest of your ecosystem. So they're feeding each other, right? So you do something here and it benefits something over here. So one of the things we're going to do is water harvesting. So we're going to put in everywhere across Jamaica, you're going to see water harvesting technology being put in right across the country, every area, in the hills, on the plains, lots of water harvesting technology built into supplying our farms and supplying our residents at the same time, collecting water from every point. So now in the new Jamaica, hurricanes and storms will be our friends. That's amazing, eh? So we're actually going to design Jamaica now to be hurricane and storm resilient and look forward to that gush of water that we're going to capture and push and pull and store to do different things. So some we're going to capture and keep it in its natural state and feed it into our plant-based life. Others we're going to capture and refine it and filter it properly and use that for anything like drinking and bathing and stuff like that. So we're really going to have a lot of permaculture technology across the country, twisting through valleys and rivers, connecting the rivers, connecting the seas, even building desalination plants where necessary, using Israeli drip technology to minimize the amount of water we actually use on our food, so we can actually export a lot of that good water, again, bringing new foreign exchange in. So watch me now. We're exporting good water, drinking good water, breathing clean air because of the way we have set things up. We're eating good quality organic food, exporting good organic quality food at premium prices, because now Jamaica will become the creme de la creme in the world for producing quality water for export, quality food for export. When you come here to vacation, you go and yam quality food and drink quality water and breathe quality air. So you now have your tourism product connected with your agricultural product, connected with your water system. And in all of this now, you're using an array of cogeneration of energy. All of our green matter is going into biogas digesters to produce methane gas to both feed cooking gas and some level of electricity where appropriate. Where we have good heavy winds, onshore, offshores, we're putting in wind turbines to capture that. Where it makes sense, we have our solar systems properly arrayed. Or badlands like the where you have the mud lakes created by the bauxite plants, which now destroy the land. We cover those with solar panels to now capture now a massive array of sun. So you're mixing some little fossil fuel, mixing with your solar, mixing with your biogas, mixing with your geothermal energy, which is using the change in temperature in the soil itself to create geoenergy. So you're adding all of that to the mix. So Jamaica becomes a leading country at using alternative energy technologies. So now that feeds into our school system. So our students are going to be some of the best in the world at alternative energy, the best in the world at organic farming, the best in the world at community tourism. So we now are building a whole new generation of smart Jamaicans who are smart in key areas that gives us a economic advantage in some areas and allow us now to earn the foreign exchange to buy the things for the areas that we're not economically advantaged in. So we're going to rival the Netherlands in terms of food production and export. We're going to rival Singapore in terms of a safe, clean, beautiful tourism product, because now we're going to have everything them don't have and everything they do have. You understand? So we are really now going to be the cutting edge of tourism, the cutting edge of food production, the cutting edge of water harvesting and water exporting to countries like even Singapore that has to import water. And we're going to make sure we build our human capital by taking our children seriously. No child in the new Jamaica will be born without proper prenatal care. So we want to get to the mothers before they even have the child to make sure their diets are right, to make sure their mental state is okay, to make sure that when this child comes into the world, it's already ready to be the best possible human being he or she can be. And then now throughout the school system, they're getting a kind of education never before seen in the world, where we focus on building the total person, not for a job, but for being an excellent human being, a great thinker, an innovator, a creator, an inventor, and allow them to achieve their maximum potential by funding their education straight through to the highest point that they can manage. You understand me? So we don't have any cutoff point. If this child can go to a PhD, we're taking them there. If they can only make it to the master's level, we're taking them there. If they can only make it to the undergraduate level, we're taking them there. And if they can only make it to the trades level, we're taking them there. And at whatever level they can reach, we want them to be among the best in that area.
I want to come back to that. But a question here from Alton 21 Grant. Will the UIC prosecute the politicians who are currently and past corrupted and stole from us?
Yes, we're going to give them a chance to come clean in a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where we can properly document the history of Jamaica, the true history, not the fake history they teach us, but the true history. Because I want the Jamaican people to understand fully how we were robbed, not only through slavery and through colonialism, but robbed through our own local indigenous, if you will, leaders. So I want to give them a chance to come clean, and those who don't come clean and are convicted on the evidence of those who do come clean will pay the ultimate price in the loss of the value of what they have stolen from the Jamaican people, plus some serious jail time. And we're going backwards in time. So even those who are dead, we're going to investigate, look back at their estate and assess and validate. Now, if family members come forward and tell the truth and help us to get to the bottom of it, clarify all the pieces, no problem. We'll give you a pass and stuff, because we really want to get at the truth. We need to understand why Jamaica has such a terrible crime problem, so we never repeat it again. So anybody who wants to help us to fully understand what went wrong, you understand? If I know something that went wrong, I may not have been the culprit, but I know about it. I come forward and tell, good. But if later on we find out that you never tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and other evidence come and we corroborate all of it, you're going to pay. So this is going to help the people at the bottom, especially those who have been used as pawn in the crime apparatus of Jamaica. They get a chance to get a clean slate. We'll put them through a remediation program, get them some training, put them through the workfare program, and get them out of crime and into a earning environment. We're going to create a lot of jobs for that in Jamaica. So those people who want to change, who want an opportunity, they may have been, lied to, tricked, forced into crime. We want them to come forward. Let us help you to start over a new chapter, and we're going to defend you and protect you and build you up. But if you decide not to participate in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and decide not to help us face this sort of crime in Jamaica,
All right, so there are some people that are thinking that you're dreaming. They're saying you need to wake up. But the fact is, everything starts as a dream. Everything starts as an idea, and we are the ones that make that dream into a reality. And so it's not just, it's one thing to say, oh, this sounds like a fairy tale. This sounds impossible. It only sounds impossible because it's never been done. We're in Jamaica. It's been done elsewhere, just not in Jamaica. But I mean, because it's never been done doesn't mean that it can't be done. And we have this mindset that, if it sounds impossible, then it is impossible, and it's not impossible. It's just that it's never been done before. So let us do it. Let us prove to ourselves that it can be done. Right? So there's another question, Mr. Patterson, that I should have saved it. Right. How many years do you think it would take? So I'm going to bring it on screen. Mr. Patterson, how many years will you take to achieve all that you have said?
Okay, every year is going to be a year of progress. So, everything won't be done all at once. You're going to be phased approaches. You're going to be step by step, I think my connection is getting weak here. Can you hear me still?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. So we're expecting that a lot will be achieved in the first 5 years, a whole lot. We're going to have a new constitution within the first 5 years. We're going to have a very different education system in the first 5 years. We're going to have a very new banking system in the first 5 years, one that respects the rights of every Jamaican to have a bank account. We're going to have changes in legislation that allow small business to have full access to capital. So the first 5 years is going to achieve a lot of fundamental things. The second 5 years is when we now start operating under the new constitution. So the first 5 years, we'll get the new constitution approved by the Jamaican people. We fix a lot of things in the microeconomy, bottom up. We transform our education. We get our transportation sector working quite well. We already start the building boom to get our people into their properties. We already start off on the agro front. So a lot of things will take place in the first 5 years, but not completed. In the second 5 years, for the first time in the history of Jamaica now, will be a full republic. We would have now have our first election, elect our first president, elect our Senate, have a non-partisan Congress, have a 100% publicly funded campaign system. So the next 5 years, Jamaicans are now seeing a very new Jamaica in terms of how we're governed. The first 5 years, we're still governed under the old system. So they're seeing the best of us under the old system, getting pieces adjusted here and there while we are getting ready now for the big launch, our true Independence Day, which will come now on September 22nd after the first 5 years of our administration. Then that 5 year period now is when you now start to see a lot of the things done in the first 5 years fully taking shape now, fully in many areas taking shape. And in the third 5 years, you now start to see Jamaica being resembling a first-class country, a first-world country in so many ways. And by the end of the fourth 5 years, the entire world will be talking about the miracle transformation, the pearl of the new world, not even just the West Indies. We will be the pearl of the new world, the crowning achievement of the black man. They'll be talking about, it's amazing. They never thought they'd see the day when a black nation has the best system of governance in the entire world. Every nation on the planet will be envying. Every citizen in any country will be saying, we wish we had a governance model like that. We wish we had leadership like that. Even Singapore will be admiring us, and their leaders will be talking about how much they need to emulate Jamaica, as much as today you hear me talking about how much we need to emulate Singapore. The entire African continent is going to have a new energy, a new fresh view, because now they're not being told by some Europeans how they must improve their governance. They can say, look here, so that's a black nation. Yes, with white people, we're an open country, we have a mix and we welcome everybody, but a majority black nation with black leaders who have done greater than any European nation in terms of the system of governance and how effectively it has worked to truly move us from poverty to prosperity.
Did I hear you correctly about September 22nd? That will be our
Yes.
official election day.
Yeah, that will become our official Independence Day, September 22nd. So mark that one down.
Awesome. So I in relation to that, will we now be renaming parishes and communities, etc., to kind of get rid of the old colonial mindset?
Yes, I mean there'll be a number of changes down the road. I'm not going to get into now any of that because it takes us too far.
Okay.
In terms of where the brain can fully comprehend. So now I'm focused more on, first of all, the things that's going to change your immediate experience. You know, the safety, the cleanliness, the orderliness, and then afterwards you can move now into changing names of streets and parishes and counties and so on. But for now, we first want to get the governance model right and get the economy right and get the education right and get the healthcare right and get the safety right. You know, if we get those things right, then now we have the luxury of now saying, okay, what else do we want to change now? You know, yes.
As it relates to the Caribbean and as you said earlier, the African, we're part of the African diaspora. How would we enable or help our Caribbean friends, our African friends, to I don't want to say to be more like a republic entity?
Yeah, I think the best way to do it, Sir Douglas, is by example. You know, we've had leaders over the years, you know, we've had some very well-spoken leaders. I'm not one of them. You have some leaders who can talk like hell, you know, and they will go up on the public stage, they'll go on the internet, and they'll talk and talk and talk and talk. But I must tell you, I really admire Lee Kuan Yew because the man let him action to the talking. You know, is after Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore, then him started talk. You understand?
Yeah.
So after he transformed Singapore, everybody wanted to hear from him. So I know that after we transform Jamaica, when Barbados see what we're doing, when Trinidad see what we're doing, when Haiti see what we're doing, when Ghana see what we're doing, when Cuba see what we're doing, when Dom Republic see what we're doing, when America see what we're doing, when Canada see what we're doing, all of them will want to come to Jamaica to have a drink and talk about how on God's creation did an unknown little black boy and some unsophisticated politicians and a little party which wasn't funded by the elites of the country or the global powers was able to take a country that was on the brink of slipping into a Haiti situation and turn it around, and not only made it a strong country, a powerful country, but a country that is the envy of every other country in the world.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to achieve. And our actions will do the talking. So all the rest of the Caribbean will want to be a part of the Jamaican way when we're finished. And we'll be able to have a much bigger say now in CARICOM. When we talk now, people listen.
Right.
And we say, okay, let's move from this CARICOM thing now to a nation, the nation of the Caribbean, with provinces. Yeah? So we're going to have provinces, but we'll have one government, one army, one police service, one economy. And when we do that now, Africa will stand up and say, wow. And then we can now talk to our African brothers in a more powerful way and say, listen, man, let's get our house in order and make sure we have the United States of Africa, and by extension, a brotherhood, a nation that expands beyond the shores of Africa to include Jamaica, the rest of the Caribbean. One massive economic bloc of black people. Yes, with some other races joining us because we're going to welcome other people, but a majority black people, a global nation. And then our black men and women in North America, in Europe, can feel proud and strong to know that they are Africans. And they will be able to get their African passport and have their African citizenship. And should anybody mess with them, they know that their African government is going to come and rescue them and defend them wherever they are. So if you're a black man in America, or a black man in Canada, or a black man in Europe, or a black man in Asia, you know that you are a son of the African soil. You have your African passport, and the government of Africa, the United States of Africa, which includes Jamaica, will be behind you, defending you and protecting your right as a sovereign individual.
Powerful. So let's get back to healthcare. How will the UIC deal with healthcare? You know, how are we going to manage our hospitals and, you know, such and other things? How are we going to deal with that?
Well, the UIC's approach to many of these public services and public entities is to make them truly public. So we're going to have a public healthcare system. And you say, what does he mean by that? Right now, what you have is a government healthcare system, which is a massive failure. What you have is a government school system, which is a massive failure. We're going to have true public schools and a true public healthcare system where the people of Jamaica owns these things, and therefore all of them, every healthcare entity will be focused on delivering quality service for payment. What the government will do now is to make sure that those who are poor are fully covered by paying their insurance for them. You follow me? You following me?
Go again.
All right. So every Jamaican will have full access to well-run hospitals and clinics that are not owned or controlled by the government. They're going to be truly public. And you ever hear about a public company? What is a public company? A public company is one where the society at large may buy shares in that company.
Right. Yeah.
And they have rules and regulations within themselves in order to deliver quality service. And if they don't, they lose customers, and the customers go elsewhere. So we're going to fully publicize, if you will, the healthcare sector so that the government can no longer meddle with the sector. It can only regulate the sector. And by regulation, I mean ensuring that no one can use force or fraud to get their way. Each of those entities now must compete for customers.
Right.
The customers will not be forced to go to any given one. The money that the government provide will follow the customer wherever the customer wishes to go. So that means if you have a clinic over here, so, or a hospital over here, so, or a healthcare provider institution over here, so, and you decide that you're going to treat the Jamaican people like dogs, that you're not going to make sure that you offer the best quality customer service, then that person can walk over there, so where it is offered. And they're not limited because the government would have limited them to this one. They can now go to anyone and the money will follow them wherever they go. So the poorest of Jamaica now will get the best of healthcare because whoever going to serve them as a customer, not as a beggar, but as a customer, because the money will only come to them if that poor person goes to them and feel happy and comfortable going to them. So a very different model, a model that understands human behavior, a model that understands the importance of human relationships, a model that understands economics. So we're going to apply these principles to bring out the best in our people instead of playing games, talking about providing all kind of stuff and never providing it because you cannot do it the way you're trying to do it. So we're going to fix the problem by providing truly public healthcare services. We're going to have an insurance program that anybody can buy into that insurance program, and those who can't afford it, the government has a 10% GCT program that will make sure the poor are fully covered and fully insured, but without the government managing, manipulating, and destroying the healthcare system.
Yes, I was going to ask where would that money come from to help out those. As I was going to ask where would that money come from to help with the poor, but you said the GCT program. So do we have enough? Is there enough money coming in from GCT to actually be able to take care of healthcare, and you said education as well, right?
Yes. So remember, our model, and I have to be careful how much I say, but I can't help it. Our model, when I say careful, I mean our friends are going to go and borrow it and dirty it up and make people not understand anymore, and let people lose faith and confidence in what we can do. But our model is designed to work economically. It is designed to ensure that it's affordable. And the way to do that, if I might say, is that you don't treat everybody the same when it comes down to taxation. You make and the operation of these facilities, you make sure that those who can pay, and those who can't pay are being paid for. You don't try to have a one-size-fits-all and try to pay for rich and poor alike, because what you do, you subsidize the rich and end up underserving the poor, right? So you want to have a model where those who can pay are paying and those who can't are being assisted. Otherwise, you run out of money very quickly because you're trying to give everybody the same service. And still, what happens when you do that? the rich get their special arrangements when they go in and still can buy even more service on top of that. And then the poor now are always stuck with the worst. If you make sure that all clinics and all hospitals treat every customer the same by virtue of not segregating the people in terms of the facilities, making sure that it's the only facility available. Only good quality facilities are available. So they're going to serve rich and poor. And it's just a matter as to who pay for the poor. Yeah, so you pay for the poor and not try to cover everybody.
How would we deal with those people that want to use fraud to get out of paying?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. I mean, the whole legal system is based on the one that we're going to set up. We're going to have very little laws, not a whole lot of laws. We have too many laws right now. Our laws are going to focus primarily on anybody trying to use force or fraud. So we're going to be very sophisticated at tracking down fraud and punishing fraud. I'll give you one example. Our tax rate is going to be very low, 10% across the board. Everybody pay 10%. But let's say you decide that you don't want to pay your 10%. When we find you, and we will, you're not going to pay 10%. You're not going to be hit with a tax rate of 50%. Yeah, plus the possibility of jail time. So you're going to have to weigh and say, for the little 10%, do I want to risk having to pay 50% instead and paying 2 or 3 years in jail, no, man, it better just pay the 10% and move on.
Right.
So you're going to find that the tax base is going to widen very far, and therefore the volume is going to be very high, because if you increase your volume, then you get a higher inflow of cash than if you try hard to squeeze as much out of a few people and get more people trying to avoid it. You have a problem. So we're going to widen the net, make it easier for people to participate, make the cost of not participating too high. Yeah, it's too high, the cost of not participating, and make the cost of participating very low. So it's very low if you participate, very high if you try to avoid participating, and therefore the mind will start to work properly,
Right.
and channel you accordingly. Yeah.
Yes. So we've gone an hour and 10 minutes.
Time to go. So thank you so much for having me.
I want to thank you for coming on, Mr. Patterson. Our guest, she was having issues. She called while you were speaking, and she said she's trying to get on, but she's not getting
able to get on. Okay.
So we may have to reschedule. But thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video that we put out last night.
Get the rating. We need the rating.
Ratings, yes. So please drop in the comments how was this live? Rate the live for us. A 10 if it was phenomenal, exceptional. 1 if it really had no value for you. Drop a comment drop a rating in the comment, so we can know. And JMH says, in the next election, put your X beside the handshake. Definitely, JMH. JMH says 10. Thank you. Aileen Besley Anderson said always 100. Okay, thank you, Aileen. Janet says this Babylon system has oppressed us long enough. Definitely. Hardcore dancehall 10. Lady Williams says 10 as always. Earl and Malcolm 10. Alan Scott, Mr. Harper and Mr. President, we appreciate you and always 10. Movie for me. All right. Lion Will Jungle. Always good to see Mr. Patterson, Mr. Harper, and the UIC 100% as usual.
How are we doing, by the way, Mr. Harper, on our drive to have 1,000 donors at 25? Because the last time I checked, our budget is very tight, and we need to make sure that we're able to fund the movement. How are we doing on the 1,000 donors? Do you know?
I don't have the figures with me, but I will just reiterate and remind everyone, please, we have a goal to hit 1,000 donors donating $25 a month. And that would greatly help us in being able to really come out and do what we're supposed to do in the streets, and also provide a UIC for you citizens that will truly represent you. Sometimes our representatives aren't able to do what they want to do because of lack of funding. So it would be good if we could fund our representatives. I heard a really good analogy the other day where if you look at your representative or your politician as your lawyer, you pay your lawyer, you fund your lawyer. If you don't pay your lawyer well, your lawyer won't be able to represent you well in court. It's the same thing with your politicians. You want to be, really providing top-notch funding for your politicians to be able to represent you in Congress. So really we need your help to be able to do more and do a lot more than we are doing now. So we are on the goal of 1,000 donors donating $25 a month. Yes, Mr. Patterson.
I really want us to win a few seats in this election.
Yeah.
Badly. And the truth of the matter is we can't win without the money. It's just a plain fact. So we really do need your help. We can't continue to operate on the low budget that we're operating. We just can't move fast enough. We can't get to places fast enough because, all of us have to be trying to make a living, and we can't. The other guys, they are being paid every day by taxpayers, right? Mark Golding gets taxpayers' money every day as opposition leader. Andrew Holness gets taxpayers' money every day as prime minister. Plus, they get the PSOJ money as well, so they can buy all the fuel they need, have all the vehicle they need, pay all the people they need. They can pay people to even block roads. I found out they've been paying some people to block roads and all of that. So they can do all these things because they have the money to do it. So we guys, we're more than them. Remember, I mean, the PSOJ, if you take them, the people in the PSOJ who are providing the money, and the 63 parliamentarians, and you call it 126 of them, right? Plus another 228. What's that? 456.
Yeah.
So about roughly all of them together, the team that is tricking Jamaica, roughly probably amounts to a total of about 10,000 persons. 10,000 persons that are controlling our government and ripping us off and destroying our country while making themselves richer. They're so foolish because they're making themselves richer in a country that is being destroyed. But anyways, roughly about 10,000 of them. If you put it all together, 10 to 15,000 on both sides altogether, right? We have in the diaspora some 3 to 4 million Jamaicans. And here on the voters list, we have about almost 2 million persons on the voters list, 1,940,000 persons, right? We are far more than them. We're far more. So if we come together and just give a little bit of money, we can have enough funds to make sure we have enough candidates.
Yeah.
And we can pay for the cost, travel, fuel, advertising, credits, phone credits, communication, staff, office. We have been struggling. The UIC has been struggling and operating on this very tiny, minuscule budget. It's amazing we're still here. We need you guys. We need you to step up and step in. Thanks to all of you who are giving, but we need more. Please convince your friends and your family. Tomorrow's Thursday, isn't it?
Yes, Thursday.
The treasurer should come on and give you an update of the finances to list out, where we're getting money from, how much we've gotten, what we're spending on, and so on, so you can know, right? I have asked the finance committee to do a presentation every week, every Thursday. The finance committee should be here. Gary Alchow, who is the chairman of the finance committee, Owen Alchow, who is a member of the committee, Emma Gordon, who is also a member. These are all accountants, by the way, on the committee, and our treasurer, young Naika Williams. I've asked them every week, come on a Thursday and present to the Jamaican people our funding status, how much we're getting, what we're spending on, so you have full transparency to know how we're operating. We do audits every year, so our books are audited every year, so every dollar is accounted for. And so far, we've never had an issue with any of our audits. We submit these to the ECJ, and we also make them available to all of our members. You can see a full copy of our audited statements with everything in there. We need you badly. We need for you to get the Jamaican people to know it's now or never. We have to do what we can now. $250 a month, a week, Jamaican dollars, 250 Jamaican dollars for membership, roughly, 250. We all can do this, no matter how poor we are. This is our lifeline. This is our moment. This is our time. If we do not step up now, I can tell you this. These guys that are in our government now, they are committed to locking us into a system of destruction.
Yep.
If we don't get out of this now, we may never be able to get out of it again. I'm not getting any younger, right? So I don't know how many other persons are willing to step up and do what I've decided to do, and those who are helping to get it done. We must take advantage of this moment and not allow this opportunity to slip through our fingers We need to get it done, guys. Thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night when the Finance Committee and others come on. Take care. All the best.
All right. Take care, guys.
Good night.